This is the second tutorial video for week 4. We're going to look here at clip envelope modulation, both audio clips and MIDI clips. So we're starting off with an audio clip that sounds like this. Okay, we go down here to the show hide envelopes button. Okay, we show the this is the envelope box. All right, we'll hide the sample box and we'll hide the launch box. So this is the envelope box. We've got a device chooser and a control chooser. The device chooser lets us select which device we want to automate. All right, so within this device chooser, the clip itself is listed as a device, and we've also got mixer as a device. So let's look at the options within mixer. So that's the device is selected as mixer, and then we've got the control chooser. So we've got speaker on and off, track banning and track volume, crossfader assign, and then we've got send levels to the two send tracks up here, reverb and delay. Now then, I know that in Live 8, speaker on and off isn't an option, so we'll go with track volume for this one. Okay, so first of all, let's switch on the grid with Command and 4. Then using B, we'll switch on draw mode. Okay, that's this little draw mode switch up here, but I'll just use B on the keyboard to activate it instead. So here we have a representation of volume. Okay, and at the minute it's snapping to the grid. If I switch the grid off again, okay, we can change it in a little bit more of a linear fashion. I wonder if no. Okay, let's just stay in draw mode. What I'll do is I'll have that effectively muted. Okay, and then we should be able to hear these two hits, and then we'll go a little bit quieter on that one, have that one pretty much muted, and then those two hits will come back in again. It's kept a little click there, hasn't it, because I haven't quite got the volume automation right to the end. There we go, that's better. Now there's still a click there, but I'm sure you get the idea. So this is volume automation. If you press B and come out of draw mode, that's when you can start to edit these breakpoints. All right, and if you hold Command like so, you get more finer resolution. That's the word I was looking for. Okay, so once you come out of draw mode, you get the breakpoints that you can edit. All right, so that is editing track volume. Now then, notice down here next to this device mixer and next to the track volume, we've got a pink LED. So anything with the pink LED next to it shows you something that has already been automated via the clip envelope. You can choose to only show adjusted envelopes, so we only get the mixer track volume within that chooser because we chose to only see the envelopes that had already been automated. So show all envelopes. If you want to get rid of it, simply control click and clear the envelope, and you can start again. So that was the mixer as a device. What about the clip as a device? We get a few different options. We get volume modulation again. Okay, we get transposition. So let's go into draw mode and see if we can individually transpose some of these hits. Let's do it as it's playing. Okay, so each one of these steps is a semitone. All right, you can see up at the top there that +3, +4 semitone. So each step is a semitone. Fairly simple operation, that. All right, so that's transposition modulation. Let's clear the envelope again. What else have we got? Well, grain size and flux, which I'm not too worried about at the minute, but let's look at this sample offset modulation. Now, sample offset modulation is based on a tape head playback scenario. So imagine that the audio is moving past a tape playhead. Okay, it's important that we set the grid to 16s for this, which it already is at. Imagine that as I've said, that the audio is passing by a tape playhead. So let's set undo that. come out of draw mode. Let's just set the insert marker at 1. So the play marker moves from right to left. Imagine that the audio is passing that tape playhead, or passing the playback marker. Okay, we can move the position of that audio, all right, relative to the playhead with this sample offset modulation. Now each stepped line here represents a 16th note. Okay, now remember that I've set the grid to be 16s. So this is 1 16th note, 2 16th notes, 3 16th notes, and so on. So this is a kick at the very, very start, and then on the second 16th note, if we want to repeat that kick, we simply go -2 16th notes. Okay, if we want to repeat this step, which at the minute sounds like this, okay, so it's a little sort of hi-hat sound sort of thing. At this step, we can go -2 16th notes. All right, and let's put both of those together. We can also move forwards in time. So if we want this, which currently sounds like this, all right, so it's another hi-hat sort of hit, to happen at this point in the grid, we can move forwards. Okay, so by using that, we can move forwards or backwards, all right? And this is a really good method of scrambling beats, all right? So I usually use this for glitch type sounds, not always with a drum beat, but it's good to demo with a drum beat because you can see very definitely what's being moved forwards and backwards. So you saw there that I did that completely randomly, but it's made quite an interesting arrangement. But I normally use this with vocal samples and things like that for glitching. Another really interesting feature of this is that we can drag a completely different audio file in here and retain the sample offset modulation, all right? Why didn't that work? Is that because I've already... Yeah, it's because just by chance I dragged the exact same audio file in, but let's just try... not that. Let's try... Yeah, let's try that. Alright, it sounds like a bag of hammers at the minute, but that was just to demonstrate that you can drag a completely different audio sample in and apply the sample offset modulation to that clip. Okay, so that is the audio clip sample modulation. Let's look at MIDI clip envelope modulation. We get slightly different options in the device choosers. We get, as well as, this is the device chooser. We get MIDI control, all right. So when we select MIDI control as the device, the control chooser gives us all of these MIDI controller numbers, all right. And this is very handy for sending MIDI control information out to an external synth. So if you've got an external synth as part of your setup, you look through the list and you find that the filter cutoff is on number 24, and you choose number 24, and then you draw some information in here, and the filter cutoff will follow the information that you've just drawn in, all right? But we're not going to look at that too much today. What else do you get to choose? Well, we've got an analog on this track. Let's just play that. Okay, so you can choose the analog device, or again, just as in the audio clip, you can choose the mixer as one of the devices, but let's stick with analog for the minute. So if we choose analog as the device, the control chooser, which is this one, then gives us all of these automatable controls. So let's choose filter 1 frequency, and we'll take the grid off with command 4. And we'll draw in a filter sweep from low to high. Okay, so the filter is opening up for us based on this automation, all right? We'll call it an automation curve. It's not exactly curved, but we'll call it an automation curve for the purposes of the demonstration. Notice again that this filter 1 frequency has a pink LED next to it because it's been automated. All right. So that's pretty cool and pretty self-explanatory, but we can take this a little bit further if we look at this linked control. Now what we can do here is we can unlink the automation in terms of the length of it from the length of the clip, the MIDI clip. So at the minute this is a MIDI clip that lasts 8 bars. Now let's just imagine, for the purposes of the demonstration, I'll tell you what, I'm going to clear the envelope for now. Let's imagine that it's only 1 bar long. Okay, so I'm going to set the loop brace there. Okay, so it's just a 1 bar loop, but we want, oh sorry, I need to turn the grid back on there for it to snap to the grid. We want an 8 bar outro, okay, to fade out at the end. How would we do that? Well, we've only got a 1 bar loop, but if we unlink the automation from the length of the clip, we can change the automation length. Okay, so notice that when we unlink, that these controls become available. We can now choose whether it's a loop, okay, whether the automation information is a loop, and also the length of it. So let's change it to be 8 bars long. Notice that this is orange at the top, this loop brace. Okay, so that corresponds to the orange in the unlinked. All right, so we decide that we want, let's just put a breakpoint here with the mouse. Okay, I'll move it up there. We're on filter frequency. Now what I want actually is a fade out. I said a fade out, didn't I? So there's track volume. All right, so we'll repeat the steps. We'll unlink it. We'll make it 8 bars. We'll put a breakpoint there. That's 3.2 decibels. A breakpoint at the end, and then we'll have a fade out. Okay, so we've got an 8 bar fade out, which is unlinked from the length of the clip, which was only 1 bar, remember. So now if we hit play, we've got an 8 bar fade out using only a 1 bar clip, which is pretty good. All right, so there was some filter frequency differences happening there. I'm not sure exactly where that's coming from. That might be from something that I've done previously, but let's just go back into the analog and filter on frequency, and let's set up a 2 bar filter sweep. All right, so we've got an audio fade out over 8 bars, but now we've set up a 2 bar filter sweep. So the the MIDI clip, the MIDI information lasts 1 bar, the fade out lasts 8, but we're going to get a filter sweep every 2 bars. Okay, so you can unlink the time of the automation from the time of the clip, and you can do that with every single different parameter. Okay, so tons and tons of control, and bear in mind every single different parameter can be based on a different length. All right, and they don't all have to be loops either, they can just be one shots.